I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Friday, March the 10th, brought to you in part by To Leave by Norbrook, Unbreakable News, and affordable generic Draxxin exclusively in plastic bottles. So you don't have to worry about breaking them. For more information, go to norbrook.com. Publicly traded markets were down and down hard. Most all your ag commodities were down hard on Thursday, and of course cattle were one of them. Corn and beans were down pretty darn good too. But we can't worry too much about our cattle futures as of yet. Yes, the trend was lower, but your April live cattle are very near what your cash weighted average was for last week's 5-area weighted average in your negotiated trade. We're kind of getting back to a healthy basis right now that the industry likes pretty well. So we can't worry too much about your live cattle. And feeder cattle futures, your spot feeder cattle, are still at about a $3 or $2.50 premium to what our cash is, as wild as cash has been. But you look at your real-time index at 190.67 and March feeder cattle sitting at just over 193. Well, they were down hard on Thursday, but we can't worry too much about that because how much of a premium do we want them to be to that? You go off into April and it's a way bigger premium, but on your live cattle you go off into the future here, the near-term future, and they've got them lower. But supposedly we're supposed to be hitting some pressure here just from the time of the year, but I don't know that those guys in Chicago that trade those futures really understand what we're dealing with here. Supply and demand, the fundamentals here. We've got extremely tight supplies of market-ready cattle. Your packers are aggressively harvesting them, and there's nothing behind them. This thing is headed to the moon. We're a good ways there, but we've got a good long ways to go. And what are we climbing here? Are we climbing a peak or are we climbing a plateau? Back in 2014, which is the last time we can remember anything like this happened, we found out that indeed we were climbing a peak because once we got to the top of it, we came right back down the other side. I think it's going to be more of a plateau this year. I think we've got a good 2.5, 3 years of these good cattle markets, calf and yearling markets too, ahead of us because we've been in such short of feed, such short ways of forage, shortness of hay, extremely high input costs, your cost of gains are high. That's made it hard for us to really enjoy this as much as we should have. But these cattle are making money now. These cattle are going to be turned out, especially if you've already got them bought. They are going to make a ton of money, and it's great, guys. You got to make money when the sun's shining. You get about 3 out of 10 years to really make some money, and you got to do it right now. But your corn was down pretty good. It was no help to the board, no help to your feeder futures, which normally your feeder cattle and your corn just kind of run on a pulley, if your corn's down and your cattle are up and vice versa. But it did help the cash. And of course, every day for the last probably 6 weeks, we've just seen new highs on feeder cattle and calves. And it was even more so on Thursday. We just broke through into a new level, and nothing surprises me anymore. But your stock market was down hard. Like I said, your publicly traded stock market was down nearly 550 points and been taking some really tough losses here. And our economy is not great. And we may be headed for recession. Likely we've been in one. But nobody wants to admit it. But I think this cattle market's got a long ways to go. You remember back the last time we saw things go like this, your CME cash feeder cattle index was over 240. It's not even 190 yet, even though your RTI is, and it will be here in another day or two of collecting sales. But we've got a ways to go. But it's probably not going to hit the near 2.5 level because of all your input costs and how much higher they are. But let's talk about your board. On Thursday, your April live cattle futures are down 65 cents at 164.80. June down 97 cents at 159.67. You really think we're going to give that much up here as we go into the grilling season and continued tight supplies? I don't really think so, but you never know. But your back months on live cattle, mostly down 30 to down 82. Now your August of 24 was actually up, but hardly any trade in there at all. March feeder cattle down 67 cents at 193.07. April down 92 cents at 199.15. Back months down 67 cents to down $1.15. Talk about your grains. March corn down 16. Even that the bearish stocks on your WASDE report on Wednesday didn't take it down that much, but just bearish publicly traded everything. Corn down 16 for March at 618.5. December down 4.5, 553.5 cents a bushel. March beans down 6 3/4 cents at 15.20 at the end of regular trading. Your fat cattle trade, we still haven't traded hardly anything. I do fear that the Southern Plains has already established that market. It's going to be steady, which is that's not a defeat. We've gained so much ground here, like $10 here in just a little over a month, that you're going to have a steady week here and there. There's a lot of pressure at that 166 level. The guys in the Southern Plains really wanted it last week. They're not fighting as hard to get it this week. They started to give in, but Iowa sold about 700 head on Thursday, only 2,200 head for the week. We've got easily 10 times more trading than that to do here on Friday in Iowa. But on Thursday, your only sale confirmed was 164 live, 265 dress. That's about steady. Nebraska, only 300 head for the week confirmed, and they all happened on Thursday at 165 live. Kansas, about 900 head, only 1,400 head for the week. 165, that would be steady with last week. Probably a lot of other guys holding out for more money, but the more of them that give up the ghost there at steady money, it's going to be harder to get it. Texas has sold 3,600 on Thursday. They sold all those on Thursday. You don't see usually Texas trading more than your other areas, but all those sales at 165. Probably expect a lot more of that on Friday. Box beef cutout values were down again. They've been up through the last several weeks, and then all of a sudden this week suffering some pretty good losses. But choice cuts down just 18 cents at 284.60. Selects down 207 at 276.05, spreading that choice select spread back out a little bit. Your slaughter through the first 4 days of the week, 502,000 head harvested. That's 1,000 more than last week, 8,000 more than the same week a year ago. Actual slaughter information come back for the week ending February the 25th with your average dressed steer carcass weight that week at 902 pounds. That's the lowest we've seen so far this calendar year. It's got a long way to go before it bottoms out. We won't see it bottom out till much later here in the spring. That 902 pounds was 4 pounds less than the previous report and 16 pounds less than the same report a year ago. So we got tight supplies. The weight on them is light because of all the storms in the northern plains, and that's just less tonnage for these packers. So they're going to have to stay aggressive to fulfill their needs. Talk about what else is going on. Safeguard is the only dewormer in both a suspension and feed formulation. Deworm at the chute, in the pasture, or in the feed. Also text rebate, the word rebate, to 48109 to get more savings on your Safeguard product. For more information on Safeguard, go to safeguardworks.com. Talk about your feeder cattle market, your real-time index on DV Auction late in the day on Thursday. Touching home base here for just a little bit. I've been gone up in Missouri all week and finally got back to the friendly confines here. Got a bull sale over in Tucumcari, New Mexico this weekend, and then it's back for our unsuccessful attempts at showing pigs. We're going down to Houston to the livestock show and rodeo later this over the weekend here, and we'll wind up that for this year, and then we just got one more year left, thank God. But real-time index on DV Auction late in the day on Thursday, 190.67, up 55 cents. We always feature a market of the month here on the Feeder Flash. You know that I support brick and mortar sale barns. I support anything that's selling cattle in a competitive way. My favorite way is in an auction, and more so in a brick and mortar sale barn. I don't want to live in a world without sale barns and feeder cattle auctions, but we always feature one of those. And for this time, our Zoetis Market of the Month is Dunlap Livestock Auction in Dunlap, Iowa. They've been doing a really good job, especially here of late, marketing cattle for their customers. They've had stick-out sales on their feeder cattle auction. They've had stick-out sales in their fat cattle auction. They just do a really good job there. Long time been in the Shaben family. John Shaben, a friend of mine, a guy that I really enjoy being around. But, you know, check them out there. And congratulations to Dunlap Livestock Auction, Dunlap, Iowa. Let's talk about your big sales. On Thursday, Farmers and Ranchers Livestock in Salina, Kansas had 3,400 head. Market was higher, but those Kansas market reporters, you know, they're reporting the only weight groups that are lower this week anywhere. And it's unbelievable that they can find that. And then anytime they can sell some cattle pretty good, they think they're thin or fancy. And I'm not exactly sure what they're basing that on. But had a couple of replacement deals sell at Farmers and Ranchers in Salina. 34 head replacement heifers weighed 693 at 211.50. 38 head of 715 pound keepers at 207.50. Pretty smoky there. How about winter livestock in Pratt, Kansas? 2,000 head. Feeder steers were $2 to $5 higher. Feeder heifers $1 to $3 higher. I'll buy that. Stick out deal at Pratt, Kansas was 72 steers, weighed 693 pounds at 215 and a quarter at nearly 700 pounds, guys. And it is super dry in Kansas, especially to the west of there. But your Zoetis stick out sale of the day was really impressive, and it was Ogallala Livestock Auction, Ogallala, Nebraska. 6,000 head plus for them. They called the market steady to $3 higher. It looked 30 higher to me. But you just look at some of these quotes I'm going to give you from this automated market report from Cattle Market Central. These are not top individual quotes. These are all the cattle in the barn within that weight group. I mean, the good, the bad, the ugly. 748 head of 6-weight steers in Ogallala averaged 654, the weighted average price of $232.21 with a weighted average weight at 654. My goodness. Nearly 1,100 head of 7-weight steers in Ogallala averaged 752 with a weighted average price of $202.46 on all of them. 569 head of 8-weight steers averaged 829, weighted average price $189.83. Look at some heifers. 588 head of 5-weight heifers averaged $552, weighted average price $217.93. 619 head of 6-weight heifers averaged $653, weighted average price on those $192.56, guys. That's on all of them. 719 head of 7-weight heifers averaged $746, weighted average price $179.47. Very impressive. Congratulations to those guys in Ogallala. They're doing one hell of a job. How about some stick-out sales individual quotes that I want to give you from all around the region. How about Billings Livestock Commission in Billings, Montana? Billings Live sells 50 head of steers, weigh 614. They called them thin at $261. You got to be kidding me. How about Bluegrass Stockyard South in Stanford, Kentucky? No way they can keep up with us out there this time of year. I don't know, guys. 60 head, 921-pound steers in Stanford, Kentucky, standing in the ring at $181.50. Ogallala Livestock Auction had an individual quote that I could not pass up, guys. Alex Brown and Sons cattle, all natural steers, 75 head of them, weighed 747 at $2.15 a pound. But the most impressive quotes that I heard of on Thursday, your Macrocin No BS top quote for the day, Valentine Livestock Auction, way up north there on the Yellow Brick Road in Valentine, Nebraska. I got a couple of quotes here, two different kinds of cattle. I got the Rice and Keller cattle there. These cattle were fall-born calves, unweaned, right off the cow. 113 head of them, weigh 487 at $255.50. Ballers. But gotta give it to the I-Cross Ranch. They had some old croppers there, the lighter end of their steers, long time weaned. 59 head of them, weighed 457 at $296.50. And that's your feeder flash for Friday.